Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us here on Urban Debate on Mirror Now. I am Heena Gambhir. Tonight, our focus is the latest as far as the state of Tamil Nadu is concerned in the southern part of the country. It has been a great day for DMK after the thumping victory that Stalin's DMK has managed to achieve in the urban local body polls in Tamil Nadu. Chief Minister Stalin thanked the people of Tamil Nadu as the DMK-led alliance was headed for a landslide victory in the urban local body elections. DMK workers celebrated the victory across the state by bursting firecrackers, distributing sweets and hailing the party chief's leadership. DMK, in fact, independently won the Greater Chennai Corporation with over 146 ward councillors, and as counting for 192 wards of the total of 200 wards were completed. AIADMK has won 15 seats, Congress Party has won 13. 5 independent candidates have also secured victory. CPIM has won 4 seats, while VCK won 3 and MDMK 2. And on the other hand, political parties like CPI, IUML, AMMK and BJP also managed to win 1 seat each. Now that the polls are over, the focus needs to shift on resolving the civic issues, the issues of the people of Tamil Nadu. That was a big concern because these elections, in fact, happened this year after a gap of about a decade. Last time we saw the elections in urban bodies was in 2011. That time, in fact, the voter turnout was about 72.52%, and this time the voter turnout was much lower at 60.70%. So tonight we will try and understand from the political parties about the way forward. Will the results of these elections mean that the life of people of Tamil Nadu will start improving? We will discuss what needs to be done more in the state of Tamil Nadu because there are many issues that need immediate attention. The local administration clearly was on its knees. There are concerns around flooding, sewage water, basic things that people of Tamil Nadu have been waiting to get addressed, but because no such elections happened in the last 1 decade or so, their problems remained unsolved. But now with the ruling party in Tamil Nadu, DMK, in fact, making this clean sweep, we are going to focus on what next for the people of Tamil Nadu. Our phone lines are open for you. You can call us and share with us your views as well. What is it that you want the government to now focus on now that the results of these urban bodies are out, the civic issues that you want the government to really address immediately? And before I go across to my guest tonight, let's listen into what the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Stalin, had to say after the victory of DMK.
நம்முடைய கழகத்தினுடைய லட்சியம், கழகத்தினுடைய குறிக்கோள். அதனால வெற்றி பெற்றிருக்கக்கூடிய அத்தனை பேருக்கும் என்னுடைய வாழ்த்துக்களையும் பாராட்டுக்களையும் நான் தெரிவிச்சுக்க விரும்புகிறேன். இன்னொன்று, என்னுடைய பணிவான உரிமை கலந்த ஒரு வேண்டுகோள். இந்த வெற்றியை ஆடம்பரமாக நீங்கள் கொண்டாடாமல் அமைதியாக கொண்டாட வேண்டும். மக்கள் உங்க மேல வச்சிருக்கக்கூடிய நம்பிக்கையை காப்பாற்ற வேண்டும். மக்களுக்கு நீங்கள் உண்மையாக இருக்கணும், உண்மையாக உழைக்கணும், பாடுபடணும். மக்களுடைய அடிப்படை பிரச்சனைகளை உடனுக்குடன் தீர்த்து வைக்கணும். உங்கள் மீது எந்த புகாரும் வராத வகையில் நீங்கள் பார்த்துக் கொள்ள வேண்டும். அதை நான் தொடர்ந்து நிச்சயமா உறுதியா கண்காணிச்சுக்கிட்டே இருப்பேன். அது யாரா இருந்தாலும் அதுக்குரிய நடவடிக்கை நிச்சயம் நான் எடுப்பேன். அதை தயங்க மாட்டேன். ஆக இவ்வளவு பெரிய வெற்றியை தந்திருக்கக்கூடிய தமிழ்நாட்டு மக்களுக்கு மீண்டும் ஒரு முறை திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தின் சார்பில் என்னுடைய இதயபூர்வமான நன்றிய வணக்கத்தை நான் தெரிவிச்சுக்கிறேன்.
So that was the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu thanking the voters of Tamil Nadu, people of Tamil Nadu, for showing their faith in DMK as far as the urban local body elections are concerned. My colleague Mugilan has been tracking this story very, very closely since morning, and he's now joining us on the phone line for more on this. Mugilan, good evening. We all knew that DMK had an edge over other political parties, but for AIA-DMK, clearly it is being seen as a big embarrassment. Can you tell us a little bit about the kind of issues that people have raised that you've been speaking with all this while?
Definitely, yes. As the elections are being held after almost 10 years, we have seen people have their own list of queries which they wanted their elected representatives to sort out. An election was broadly contested, fought on that issue, but now we are seeing DMK making a clean sweep in the urban local body election. They have managed to win maximum number of, and still in certain seats the results are awaited, and even in those corporations and in town panchayats and municipalities, DMK continued to lead. So DMK has almost swept this urban local body election, and as you rightly pointed out, when it comes to ADMK, it has seen a very sharp decline in the number of seats and the number of votes that it has secured in the urban local body election. And yes, BJP this time has won 300 seats. And they have contested around only 4,500 seats when there were 12,800 seats to contest. So yes, now we have to wait and watch how the political arithmetics also will change in the state, and we have to wait and watch how things really pan up hereafter.
Well, clearly that will be important to see the politics as far as this issue is concerned. But Mugilan, it is also about the issues of people because, be it about power cuts, traffic congestion, the issue of corruption, roads, garbage, flooding, there's too much that the government will now have to really pay attention to, because corruption has been a big concern. Now, the ruling political party has managed to get this landslide victory in these very important local body polls. What's going to be the strategy from here on is going to be very, very important, because for DMK, this was also being seen as an important test after it won the assembly elections.
Definitely, as you rightly pointed out, when it comes to corporations, DMK has managed to win maximum number of seats in the corporations, and they have won all the corporations, that is 21 corporations today in the urban local body election. So definitely, yes, even when the Chief Minister MK Stalin addressing the media, he wanted all the elected representatives to cut down all the celebrations and focus on the civic issues, and he has also stated that all the elected representatives, the local representatives, should work in a way that they can carry forward the schemes and the other projects that have been rolled out by the state government. And definitely, yes, last 10 years was completely under the control of special officers that was appointed by the state government. Now the elected representatives are in place. Definitely, now they will be in a position to take up all the civic issues that are raised by the people, because there are several issues that the people face day in and day out in Tamil Nadu.
Right. Have we got any reaction from the AIA-DMK as well on this entire matter? Because DMK managed to keep AIA-DMK at bay for sure. Was that the expectation as well?
Definitely. ADMK has already issued a joint statement, and they have said that they will overcome this defeat, and they have also stated that this is a DMK, while commenting on DMK's victory, they said that this is a more an artificial victory which was created by the DMK, is what the ADMK has stated, and they have also considered their defeat, stating that they will come up from this defeat.
Right, Mugilan, you've been tracking this story very, very closely. You've tracked, the polling day as well when the election took place on 19th of February. Now, talking about voter turnout specifically, the voter turnout, of course, was much lower than what it was in the last elections in 2011. From 72%, it came down to about 60-odd%. And among 21 corporations, it was Greater Chennai, Mugilan, that saw the lowest turnout of about 43.59%. How do we really see this? What is it that the people of Greater Chennai really have to say? Do they have no faith in these elections? Why? What really explains this low turnout?
Definitely, this is how the trend has always been when it comes to election. Either it be the parliamentary election, assembly elections, and even now in the local body elections, we are seeing the trend continues here in Chennai. And Chennai people have always felt shy to come out in large number and cast their vote. But definitely, yes, we have seen several political analysts have raised this as a concern because the voting percent have not crossed as expected. So definitely, yes, this was a cause of concern, but people have given their verdict. Now it is for the elected civic local representatives to take up the issues as raised by the people.
All right, Mugilan, thank you very much for the moment for joining us and explaining to us the sentiment on the ground. We'll, of course, be coming back to you for more on this big story. Let me now go across to my guests who are joining us on Urban Debate this evening. We have Sanjay Pinto, lawyer and columnist, joining us. Narayan Lakshaman, who is associate editor at The Hindu, also joining us on the broadcast this evening. Good evening to both of you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us here on Urban Debate on Mirror Now this evening. Sanjay Pinto, I want to begin the discussion with you because you were with us when we were discussing the issues that should be the focus of these civic body polls in Tamil Nadu. DMK's clean sweep clearly is not being seen as a big surprise. Many expected it to really happen. But what lies ahead and what really should be the approach from here on so that the issues of people are addressed?
Thank you, Heena. Well, I think a ruling party winning a local body poll is almost a foregone conclusion in politics. That's how it's always been. And as far as the road ahead is concerned, I think you had that roadmap already from the Chief Minister to his councillors. He didn't merely ask them to solve people's grievances. He, in fact, asked them to preempt complaints. I mean, that I think that should be the main message that they should really take home. Having said that, I was listening to your correspondent there analyzing the reasons for the low voter turnout. I must say that it's definitely been much lower in this civic body poll as compared to assembly polls in the past or parliamentary polls in the past from Chennai. That's been a record low, in fact. And I would attribute this, as I said, even at the previous program, that people were not really aware of who these people who threw their hat in the ring were really, who the contestants were. Now, all that's now water under the bridge. I think the focus now should be on three things. One, for these councillors, for these elected councillors to start by introducing themselves to the people they are meant to serve. Secondly, for them to start communicating, whether it's on the social media, whether it's on, on WhatsApp, on Twitter, on Facebook, or even meeting people in person. I think they need to start communicating. Thirdly, they need to be accessible whenever there's a problem. I would want my local councillor to be like that influential, well-meaning, helpful uncle or aunt in the neighborhood to whom we will always go to when you have a problem. I want to have his or her number on my speed dial. So whenever, and I must say this, that, as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, it's unique in the sense that the bureaucracy is exceptionally accessible to the common man. The bureaucracy, especially the senior IAS and IPS officers, have been running the show for a long time. It's possible to even run it on autopilot to that extent. I must say it's happened in the past. But for those who are unable to have that access to the higher echelons of the bureaucracy, I think that's where the councillor's role is crucial, to be their voice, to solve their grievances, to take up issues. And I would like to see greater consultation with the people. If they're going to make something, convert a road into a one-way traffic system, or before they dig in front of somebody's gate, let them take people into confidence. Before they make these decisions, let them take the local people into confidence. That is something that I would like to see from my local councillors.
Okay, interesting. Of course, you can have the numbers of these local councillors who have now been elected on your speed dial as well, considering now these people are going to be there as the councillors of various wards. But Narayan Lakshman, I want to understand from you, how will you like to interpret the results that have come out? And do you think it is going to act as a magic wand for the problems that, people of Tamil Nadu have been facing for almost a decade? The basic civic issues that have not really been addressed?
Well, that's a very important question, and I think Sanjay touched upon it briefly, which is to say that it does matter. Of course, it's a foregone conclusion in some ways that a ruling party at the state government level will see good prospects in such elections. But having said that, it does smooth the path for resources to flow from the higher to the lower level. So obviously, when your councillor and your ministers of state and other ministers within the state government cabinet are of the same party, communication is smoother. When there are, Tamil Nadu is known as a state that practices mass welfare policies on a large scale. It's been a pioneer in many regards. Those policies flow more smoothly as well. And then, of course, you come to the bigger question. I think there's a distinction depending on which issue you take up. So if you take up the distribution of welfare resources, yes, these results will lead to sort of a more smooth flow of those. But at the same time, if you're looking at civic issues, most clearly to my mind, flood management. We had a very bad rainy season last year, towards the end of last year, and there was untold misery across the streets. And what did we see? We saw both the ruling party as well as the opposition get into a sort of a slanging match over who was to blame. Both of them knowing very well that the resolution of of issues like desilting of canals and so on has been multi-decade problem. They're both equally to blame. So to that extent, when there is stagnation at the higher level, it helps, as Sanjay also correctly said, to have a responsive local government, to have a responsive councillors who first you do know how to contact, and second, who are empathetic to your woes when you do flag them as a community. So I think so far, this at the state government level, at least, the DMK has shown itself to be somewhat more proactive, let's say, than it has in the past. It's taking on issues before they explode in its face. So hopefully, unlike the disaster we saw with the flood management, we will see a better turnaround on local issues going forward. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that.
So you're expecting that, there'll be less blame game now because elections are over. We've got the results, and it's the ruling party, in fact, that has got the majority. So you're expecting councillors to be more responsive as well. Interesting points you've raised. Now, let me also introduce my other guests who are joining us on the broadcast this evening. We have Narayan Tirupati, spokesperson of the BJP. Also joining us is A. Sarvanan, spokesperson DMK, who's also a lawyer. Thank you very much, both of you gentlemen, for joining us here on Urban Debate on Mirror Now. A. Sarvanan, congratulations. DMK, many say, clearly had an edge over others, but now the kind of results that you've got are quite interesting, and people have chosen your political party as far as the local body polls are concerned. But with power comes great responsibility. You've made tall promises, and now the time will be to fulfill them.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your wishes. We have that. That is always there in the back of the mind, that this is a big responsibility. Even when the chief minister, he took oath, he said, this is not going to be a post. This is somewhere where I'm going to sit and share my responsibility, dispose my responsibilities. That is what he said. And everybody is aware of the responsibility that is being put on us by the people of Tamil Nadu. We thank them from the bottom of our heart for expressing this solidarity. I think this is possible because of the kind of work what we have done in the last 8 months. The chief minister has clearly pointed out that this is the Dravidian model, the Dravidian way we function, this government function, and it got a thumbs up from the people of Tamil Nadu. The most important aspect would be that we have caught the imagination of the women folk across the spectrum, across the age spectrum in the state of Tamil Nadu. When the leader said that there's going to be no bus fare for the people, for the women in Tamil Nadu to travel anywhere, it really caught the imagination. It changed their lives and it changed their livelihood. And we also introduced 40% of reservation of women. It was 30%. We increased it to 40% for the women. And of course, the most important mayoral seats in Chennai, it is for a women. 2 surrounding districts in Chennai, they are for women. And other important 2-tier cities, it was also reserved for women. So the women are feeling that this government will protect them, will ensure that they are empowered. I think that has made a huge impact on the elections. And there were a lot of other claims that unfulfilled promises within 8 months.
Right.
Whatever the promise that we have been able to fulfill, which were the kind of funds that were available with us, we have fulfilled all of them. And whatever that required, not the funds, but just the will of the government, we were able to do that. For example, we promised that the jobs of the state of Tamil Nadu will be for the people from Tamil Nadu. We made a simple amendment that if you want to enter Tamil Nadu government services, please write in Tamil your examinations. Done, finished, and the jobs are reserved for the Tamil youngsters. So this is how, where we were able to fulfill most of our promises, and we will fulfill all the promises that has been made by us.
Okay. Narayan Tirupati. So DMK believes that, this kind of a result that the party has got in these local body polls is the result of the work that was done by the party in last few months, and now a roadmap is ready. DMK clearly has established dominance. BJP still, it seems, looking for relevance in the southern state.
See, first of all, I don't agree the argument what Saravanan had said. This victory by DMK is totally, by means of money power, muscle power, and the machinery, government machinery power, 3 M's, which has helped DMK get this victory. And this victory is a defeat for defeat of democracy.
Sour grapes.
Mr. Saravanan, I hope not like, in the elections, what you people did. Don't try to hate me here also, right?
No.
So this victory is a defeat for democracy in Tamil Nadu, and the DMK has done it. But in spite of the violence, in spite of all these things, the money power, muscle power, BJP has definitely put in roads in Tamil Nadu. We have a lot of councillors now, a lot of people who have got elected throughout Tamil Nadu, right from Chennai to Kanyakumari up to Nilgiris. We have done it in spite of the problems created by the DMK government. But again, I am trying to say that Mr. Saravanan was saying that they have fulfilled promises. No. My friend Narayan Lakshaman was saying about desilting of lakes and other things. Particularly, everybody know what happened during the floods. The central government allotted more than 40-50 crores to clean up the stormwater drains, which they did not do in the given 6 months. So people know that DMK has not done anything in the last 9 months. They have invested money in the local body
Then why have
elections.
people voted for DMK? Why have people voted for DMK is the big question.
No,
Sarvanan, will you like to respond to what Mr. Narayan Tirupati mentioned?
See, the problem
money
is
power,
the BJP,
bogus votes, they have done it.
Yeah, the BJP is insulting the intelligence.
Let Sarvanan now respond.
Yes, Heena. See, the BJP is insulting the wisdom of the people of Tamil Nadu. They are ridiculing the choice of the people of Tamil Nadu. They are not able to win any number of seats what they had won even way back in 2011. Nothing major has happened. In 2011 also, when they were able to contest as many seats, they won only these many seats. Even now, after 10 years, after proclaiming that they changed India, they did this, they did that, no significant progress in the state of Tamil Nadu, and that is going to be the same in the foreseeable future. But the people, see, if you look at the elections that have taken place in Chennai, it is one of the most peaceful elections we had ever seen, without any incident, it's the most free and fair election that the state had seen with respect to the local body elections. And congratulations to the election commission which made it possible. So whatever those allegations, they are just.
And congratulations to you as well. You have won the election. Clearly, you have established dominance, but the focus now is going to be on the issues of people. The point that we want to highlight this evening for our viewers is that how will this improve the life of people of Tamil Nadu? Before I come to you, let me go back to Sanjay Pinto as well as Narayan Lakshaman on the issue of voter turnout that you touched upon earlier, that I was asking Mugilan as well to elaborate. What is the reason in Chennai, like Mugilan was telling us, traditionally it has been quite lower in Greater Chennai. Is it because people do not have any faith in the councillors or the entire system, the administration, which literally has been on its knees for so long? Because this time also the voter turnout in Greater Chennai was just like, what, 43.59%? Not even 45%. Sanjay Pinto first and then Narayan Lakshaman.
Yes, electorally, a high voter turnout would usually indicate high anti-incumbency. A low voter turnout would indicate that people are reasonably satisfied with the government. So in a sense, a local body poll just about 8-9 months after a party is voted to power would be like sort of a referendum. So it's perhaps possible that people are largely satisfied with the DMK rule so far. And to be fair, I think they've done a pretty good job. There will always be inadequacies, but by and large, I think they've done, to give them credit. However, the challenge will be when we talk of a clean sweep, this clean sweep should not degenerate into a new broom sweeps well philosophy. I mean, that's going to be the challenge. And also the fact that we don't have nota still. A lot of people who are undecided, there's no nota, none of the above for local body polls.
Okay. Narayan Lakshaman, how will you like to respond?
Yeah, I mean, I do think there is a level of satisfaction with the performance of the DMK at the state government level. But at the same time, let's be clear, the factors in voters' minds that govern how they vote at local governments is quite different to how they vote in a state assembly election. I think local issues resonate more. And to me, the low turnout in Chennai also does reflect some level of, it's a combination of, disappointment with the performance of the local government so far. I'm not blaming any particular party, but it's also the fact that, given that urban areas are generally more well-to-do, people have more access to private sector solutions. So for example, even cleaning of neighborhoods is often outsourced in some parts to private companies. So there is a sense of a disconnect between local issues and what people require and demand and from their leaders. However, the real test is the councillors who have been elected outside of the metro areas, as you'd call them. And there, I think the demand is more, and you do see a different pattern of turnout. So I think that does tell you that people were possibly seeking a change in terms of having more responsive leaders. Again, it goes back to the issue of responsiveness. And that is where I totally agree with Sanjay that it's not a time for complacency. Clean sweep should not mean sit back on your laurels and start playing this, same games of the past. I think it has to be a fresh start. So far, the Chief Minister has inspired hope that is possible at the state government level. It has been a very fresh start for the DMK. Let's be very clear about that. So I think if they can do that at the local level, they'll be on a strong
fresh start for the DMK, but clean sweep should not mean complacency. You've summed it up pretty well, and we'll talk about the challenges as well in just a bit. In fact, this is a show on which we're also inviting the people of Tamil Nadu to call us and tell us what is it that they want the ruling party to really focus on, considering now, they have established dominance. We have Satya Jayapal joining us from Chennai this evening. Good evening, Satya. Thank you for calling us here on Mirror Now. What is it that you will like to say?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Yeah, I think, first of all, the elections that have happened after 11 years is indeed very good for us. People so far have been wondering where to turn to whenever we had any issues. Obviously, you cannot go to an MLA or an MP or the Corporation Commissioner for everything. So the fact that now that the ruling party has had a sweeping victory bodes well for the people of Tamil Nadu. That's certainly because I think the elected corporation officials and municipality officials will work well hand in hand with the party in power, whoever that may be. So the fact that DMK has won, I think bodes well, and I think we can start seeing some of the normal civic-related issues that have been plaguing us for many, many years now getting resolved. I really hope they do.
Satya, will you like to tell us the few issues that you want the party to really focus on immediately, maybe in the first phase itself?
Absolutely. I think roads, inner roads, the main roads in Chennai are spectacular. They're really good. But the inner roads are pretty much range between terrible to okayish. So that would be one. Hello?
All right, Satya, appreciate you joining us here on Mirror Now and sharing with us your perspective. You're calling us from Chennai. So you heard Mr. Sarvanan that, roads, inner roads, the condition of inner roads is something that, people want you to address. Could you tell us a little bit about the key focus areas that are going to be there for you immediately now? Because people have high expectations from you. People want things to get better, be it about the issue of flood management, sewage, drainage system. There are so many basic problems that people are facing. Could you tell us, could you promise to our viewers, what will you work on immediately? How will you make their life better?
Yeah. See, when you're talking about the city of Chennai, I think the roads are a major concern. We have seen in the past how even a small rain would ensure that there are a lot of potholes and it remained unattended for a long time. A lot of issues regarding the contractors and how the way the contracts were awarded, all those things were there. Now, after the advent of the DMK government, we have ensured that there is transparency in the awarding of all these road contracts. And yet another important issue was the milling of the roads before laying the new roads. This was flagged by so many people. The chief minister, he was there when the road was laid. He ensured, he was there, he visited a particular place, ensured that the road was milled. And again, a new road was laid. The chief secretary, when there was a complaint about not milling, the chief secretary was there on the ground and ensured that there was milling. And when the specific complaints were made, this particular contractor was blacklisted. And this is one thing. This is about the road. Of course, the other issue would be flooding. Of course, Chennai will handle a normal rainfall. Normal rainfall shouldn't be a problem. We'll be able to handle that because we have got robust system of stormwater drains. But if there is going to be excessive rainfalls, which is going to be the norm because of climate change, this government, the ADMK government, has spent for the last 6 years, they have spent almost around 6,000 crores, but we don't have any answers. Now the chief minister has appointed a committee under a retired IAS officer to ensure, to find ways and means that this does not happen. Whatever be the rain, whatever be the excess rainfall, this has to be flooded. We hope that that will come to place before the next monsoon. We will be able to mitigate that. So these are the two key areas where we are concentrating. That apart, of course, the usual things of garbage segregation and mosquito menace.
In fact, I have another viewer joining us on the broadcast. A. Sarvanan, interrupting you there, requesting you to stay on with us. I'll also go across to Narayan Tirupati to talk about the challenges that, are going to be there. Usha Priya is joining us from Pune this evening. Usha Priya, thank you for calling us here on Mirror Now. What is it that you will like to say?
Yeah, hello all, namaste. Panelists, namaste to all the panelists, and congratulations for the thumping victory.
Thank you.
And now you have, what I want to say is, just concentrate what Chennai is facing now. The party which has won with the majority, it has to work on it. And at the same time, one thing definitely they will, and one thing is, same time BJP has made inroads, which is something, it's remarkable actually, very remarkable. And complementing with each other, I'm sure the ruling party will definitely make some remarkable change actually for the betterment of the people, because it is at the end of the day, the psyche of the politics must change as what people want politicians have to meet in, and definitely I think it will be made actually. And,
all right, Usha Priya, appreciate you calling us here on Mirror Now and sharing with us your perspective. Thank you very much. Narayan Tirupati, like we were discussing earlier as well, the focus should also be on ensuring that the councillors, are more efficient and less corrupt.
No, it is not possible, because I have already told that crores and crores of rupees rupees have been spent by DMK people. DMK has fielded a lot of candidates who have spent in crores and crores of rupees. You invest crores of money, and obviously you would like to take it. That is what the DMK councillors will do. The biggest challenge for Tamil Nadu Tamilians is that how they are going to, how they are going to take these councillors, how they are going to have these councillors. That is the biggest challenge for the Tamilians, and also, for people like us. Because as Sanjay Pinto during last week, the same discussion, I think the same panel was there. He was telling that in front of a house in the road, some stones and sand are there. Obviously, people will go there. And Mr. Saravanan was saying that 6 crores were spent, but nothing is there. But there, Mr. Saravanan is telling for the past 6 hours, no action has been taken. The same contractors, the same officials, in fact, some officials whom they charged during the last, government, have promoted him and they have given them more powers and they have empowered the officials. This is what has happened because they know how to, be corrupt. So they want to learn from those officials so that they empower them and they do this. This is what the DMK, that will be the biggest challenge. So I don't think corruption will be, will not be there. Corruption will be there. And this election they have spent only to corrupt the people of Tamil Nadu. That is what they have done. It is the biggest challenge for BJPians because now we have gone there and a lot of people have gone there, say from town panchayat, municipality and also corporation. Definitely we will fight against the DMK. Absolutely no problem. We will take care of people of Tamil Nadu.
Okay, I'll get response on the point that you have made from my other guests as well in just a bit. In fact, we have more viewers, joining us on the broadcast. We have Ramesh Kuduswamy from Mumbai on the phone line this evening. Ramesh, thank you for calling us here on Mirror Now on Urban Debate. What is it that you will like to say?
I believe Stalin, he have experience. He have a lot
Mr.
of
Ramesh?
experience as mayor. Hello. Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I thank to Stalin. Stalin have a experience in mayor post, and he will definitely improve the Chennai metro city and what the problem facing in Chennai. That's I believe Stalin will improve, and the corruption every party have, not only the DMK, and all parties have the corruption problem. That's not a point of view, but
all right.
Yes.
Thank you, Ramesh, for calling us here on Mirror Now this evening. Coming back to my guests who continue to be with us right now, Sanjay Pinto and Narayan Lakshaman, as well as Mr. Saravanan. Now, the charge is that money power has been used, while you both have been trying to suggest that probably this is a result of the work that DMK has done over the last few months, and people have faith in Stalin-led DMK, who himself has been a mayor, just like our viewer was also telling us just now. But how will you like to respond to the charges by the BJP?
No, is that for me or is that for Saravanan?
Sanjay Pinto, then Narayan Lakshaman.
Okay, I really am not in a position to respond to the political accusations because I don't represent any party here. But having said that, I was just watching, this show. It's good to have a show that focuses on real issues as opposed to a lot of, slanging match that we normally associate with 8 or 9 p.m. news on television. What you are doing, what Mirror Now, what the Urban Debate is doing is to get in local people to talk about their problems and give their views. I would have liked to see more people from Chennai or Tamil Nadu, but that's a different matter. Why is that? And this is a suggestion, again, I'm going to put it to my good friend Saravanan to take it to the party high command. Why can't we have a kind of a regular, periodic town hall sort of meeting, interaction with the people, between the people and the local councillors, the local MLAs, and maybe at some level, maybe even with the chief minister and the cabinet, a town hall meeting where, let's say, once a month, 1 hour if they spend either on, apart from, having more frequent interactions on the social media, a sort of a town hall meet in person with the, leaders, so that we'll be able to come up with our suggestions. At the end of the day, they are meant to serve us. And I must also say that going ahead, we also need to look at...
Interesting. Town hall with the leaders is an idea that Sanjay Pinto is giving. And Sanjay, as you were telling us that, it'll be good if we get to hear more from the people of Tamil Nadu. So we have another viewer, in fact, joining us in the broadcast. Malik is with us from Chennai. Good evening. Thank you for calling us here on Mirror Now. What is it that you would like to say?
I mean, to DMK. Yeah,
yes.
And
unfortunately, that's a bad line out there. We will try and reconnect. But thank you, Malik, for the moment for calling us here on Mirror Now. And Sanjay, like you were giving an interesting suggestion.
Just a quick suggestion, taking off from Sarvanan's point, I do admit, in fact, I myself have seen the Chief Minister on the roads there about the milling problem, supervising that with the Corporation Commissioner and the Chief Secretary. I witnessed that. Now, many years ago, there was a very honest Corporation Commissioner of Chennai who actually imposed a sort of, like we have in medicines, best before and, expiry date. He tried to enforce some kind of accountability on road contractors, saying a road should last this many years. Otherwise, that contractor should be blacklisted or some action should be taken. Maybe we need a revival of that so that they crack the whip really on those who come up with roads that crumble after a silken drizzle. That is something that I think, again, my friend Sarvanan can bounce off to the party high command. These are issues that the common people, when you implement these suggestions, it infuses accountability and faith in the system.
Narayan Lakshaman, those are two very interesting suggestions that Sanjay Pinto has given. What is it that you will like to say about the kind of challenges that DMK will have to, deal with, because the expectations are too high?
Well, I think the charge raised by Mr. Tirupati, my longtime friend on the CV channels, is quite valid in the sense of it is not about any particular party, and I differ from him on that. But I think corruption as such is an issue, and it has been an issue with all parties in Tamil Nadu especially. It's been a rampant looting of the public exchequer for many, many decades. And again, let's not name any parties. And the reason I say, Mr. Tirupati, I differ from him in terms of him making that charge is that the BJP is not different from the AIADMK or the DMK or any of the others involved. There are many of its members who have been convicted of certain crimes. Let's not get into that either. The main point is, given that Mr. Stalin...
In fact, that's across all political parties. That was our...
Yeah, no,
yes, that was our, special focus during the last time when we had a debate on the elections.
Convicted for corruption, Mr. Narayan
Lakshaman Bangaru.
No,
Mr. Lakshaman Bangaru.
Never in power.
No, Mr. Bangaru Lakshaman. Mr. Bangaru Lakshaman.
In Tamil Nadu.
No, Mr. Bangaru Lakshaman.
I don't understand why suddenly Mr. Narayan Lakshaman bringing BJP.
I didn't say they were in Tamil Nadu. I didn't say they were in Tamil Nadu.
We are talking about Tamil Nadu. I think you know that.
There are members of your party or people associated with the BJP who have been convicted.
No, we are talking about corruption, sir. We are talking about corruption. Please.
Yes, I'm talking about corruption.
You want to implicate BJP here. I understand your intention, but of course, I don't think it is.
You may say it for my intention, but I'm saying all parties are involved equally in this matter. However, to complete my point, Mr. Stalin has started on a positive note at the state level. And I think definitely in terms of the pressure you mentioned, it is to keep that clean image. So as Sanjay said correctly, part of it will involve, design of systems. So how do you get accountability from these councillors? How can you have, visible signals sent to vendors and contractors that, they will have to toe the line on corruption or lose their contracts? So these kinds of things will matter.
Right.
And I think that's the way forward. Yeah.
Accountability will have to be fixed. That's going to be very, very important.
Report card for the councillors, given by
report card for the councillors. Accountability needs to be fixed. Mr. Sarvanan, in fact, is making note of every suggestion that is coming on the show. I saw him doing that. Okay, let's get another viewer who is joining us in the broadcast this evening. S. Ramakrishnan is with us from the national capital. Thank you very much for calling us here on Mirror Now. What is it that you would like to say?
Number one, to Mr. Sanjay Pindo. This asking for support for any of the things will not happen in Chennai, number one. Number two, I am asking Saravanan. Mr. Saravanan,
Yes.
you are an advocate. I am talking about the cleaning of roads, cleaning of the what do you call? We started, Mr. Modi started all cleaning the places. My house is nearer to Santom, and there is a park. The entry of the park has got a kudadan. Kudadan means you know that. Garbage bags, boxes, and from 3 streets people come and put it. Is it the way corporation works? Anyway, Anna DMK never worked. They are shit. I know that. But DMK, will they be able to solve this problem? For a park, in that park, people used to walk, run around and take some health support. This is nearer to Airtel office. Please answer me.
Okay, important points you've raised, Mr. Ramakrishnan. Appreciate you joining us here on Mirror Now and sharing with us your concerns. We have Ayappan joining us from Coimbatore as well. Good evening. Thank you for calling us here on Mirror Now. What is it that you would like to say?
Good evening, madam. I'm one of your staunch, listeners in Times Mirror. I think you joined, you were taken over from Shukla. Congrats, number one. Number two, as far as this election is concerned, I should congratulate BJP amongst all. And single-handedly, without any party, without affiliation to any of these Dravidian parties, they really come out very, very successfully. This is what they should continue. That is my my best vision. They should never align with any of these Dravidian parties. They should stand. This is a good beginning. They will be able to, if not this election, in another couple of elections, they will be able to prove their majority, and we can definitely see corruption-free government. That is my observation, please.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for calling us here on Mirror Now. Narayan Tirupati, will you like to respond?
Yeah, but what he said is, and I have only 2 questions to Mr. Saravanan. We have been posing these questions. See, number one.
Okay.
Why is that you have not took action against the official against whom you gave complaint? Number 2, why is that the same contractors for laying roads or other civic works are there still, which also have been proved and it has come out. I think Mr. Sanjay Pinto and Narayan Lakshaman accept it because it has come out there, daily. And my question is to Sanjay Pinto and Mr. Narayan Lakshaman. Please tell me, is it true or not that several crores of rupees have been spent by the DMK to win this election? If you say no, I will accept it. I will accept because
Money power. Really, you're repeating the point that you had made earlier. Yes. Quick response, A. Saravanan.
I am telling you, only because of that, corruption will happen. That's what I'm saying. My question is to Narayan Lakshaman and Sanjay Pinto.
Okay, I'll take that. Can I, Sanjay,
okay.
Sanjay.
A. Saravanan, quick response.
Yes. See, I can understand why Mr. Narayan Tirupati is grumbling because his party has been routed here. And as I pointed out earlier, 2011 and 2021, not much difference. Even the great Modi ji's government is not able to make any dent in the state of Tamil Nadu. This is one thing. And corruption charges coming from BJP is a bit rich. They are the richest party in the country. How did they become rich? By doling out everything to the corporates. This is another debate. I'm not getting into that. We are talking about the suggestions made by Mr. Sanjay Pinto that there has to be a town hall meeting. That is an excellent suggestion. Definitely, that will be looked into. And of course, he also speaks about, even in the last debate, he spoke about how the resident welfare associations can make a positive impact in the terms of governance. And we also had a complaint about garbage. Clearing of garbage. This government will give its utmost importance because why I'm so sure about this, that when our leader, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, was the mayor, he was the first one to introduce this automated garbage machines. He partnered with Exnora and ensured that there is seamless garbage collection.
Okay.
So that will take place. We will.
So you are making promises. It is very good to hear what you are telling us, and we can only hope that you fulfill these big promises as well. I have another viewer joining us on the broadcast, Manohar from the National Capital. Good evening. Thank you for calling us here on Mirror Now. What is it that you would like to say?
I will only want to say this, congrats to Stalin for a good victory and keeping BJP disconnected.
No, please go ahead.
All right. Well, I think
just a small point. Hina, just a small point.
Your television is
10 seconds.
on.
Can you give me 10 seconds?
Okay, Manohar, thank you for calling us here on Urban Debate. Sarvanan, very
seconds.
quickly.
Yeah. See, if you look at the number of persons who had spoken here, almost all of them congratulated the DMK. This is a clear example. This is what the
I also congratulated you, Sarvanan. Even I congratulated you.
Yes,
now the point is whether you will fulfill these promises or not. You've got some interesting suggestions as well. And we can hope and expect that you will actually do something to ensure that lives of people get better from here on. And that is the reason we had this debate today. That is the reason we asked people to call. And I saw you making notes as well while the guests were giving ideas. Closing comments, 10 seconds each. Sanjay Pinto as well as Narayan Lakshaman.
I'll let Narayan go first.
Okay.
Thank you, Sanjay. I would just say again, some of the important points have already come up, and one of them is DMK should very much hope that it doesn't lose momentum. I think the rule of both Karunanidhi and Jayalalitha for the best part of half a century put the state on a weak wicket in some ways and on a strong wicket in others. The weak wicket had to do with corruption. The strong wicket had to do with mass welfare schemes that help the poor. So let's try and clean up the corruption part, and let's keep the poor in mind, even whether the urban poor or the rural poor, through these local elections. Let's keep them in mind, because that has been the mainstay of the state's development.
Okay, Sanjay Pinto, last 10 seconds.
Yes, I feel, certain specific issues can be taken up every month. Like, for instance, you can have 1 month for segregation of garbage, where can be an intensive approach to solve this issue. Segregation of garbage, the ban on plastics, they've started this Manja Pai bring back. In fact, they've got a very proactive Environment Additional Chief Secretary in Supriya Sahu, who started a lot of these enviro-friendly measures. I think each month you can have, an issue for the month as such, and that's how we can really improve our local self-government.
All right. In fact, I've just got the final results as well. Chennai Corporation, my colleague Mohsina has given us this info. Of the 200 wards, DMK has won in 153, AIA DMK in 15. I appreciate all my guests for joining us on this debate this evening. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you.
We'll get those details for you, Sanjay, but for the moment, I'm completely out of time. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us here on Urban Debate. Heading into a very, very short break. There's lots lined up for you on the other side as well. Stay with us.